Well, hello everyone. Welcome to another day of a woo-woo Christmas. 12 days here of me bringing in through some beautiful colleagues of mine and some beautiful friends to give us tools for our soul for the season. And today I'm so excited to, welcome Kelly Carpenter from the other side of average with me, who works with the TOSA method is something that she's created. She works with breath, trauma, grief, you name it. She's also specializes in healing the mother wound. I've had one of her workshops where I was crying and sobbing on all fours at one point. But the work that she brings to the world is just pure magic. And the emotional intelligence that she inspires in us as well has been something I thought would be a beautiful gift for all of us here this season. So thank you, Kelly, for joining me.
Thank you so much, Michelle.
Oh,
It's really an honor to be here. You mentioned colleagues and, connections and friends, and you're just someone I really deeply value and honor in the work that you bring to the world as well. So,
oh, beautiful. Thank you. So, Kelly, I mean, how do we survive this season?
yeah.
We're in such a tumultuous energy, as we kind of close a year, and as the holidays come, that there can be many triggers for our system, and I'm just wondering what kind of wisdom or gems you can bring forward today for us to help us cope.
Yeah, for sure. And, hopefully even more than cope.
Yes, that would be ideal.
However, um, you know, I really, when I was contemplating being on here, I was really that emotional charge, the triggers or grief that's coming to the surface. I honestly feel that learning how to feel again, embodied feeling, is a skill that every human needs to learn how to do, because most of us feel taken out by our emotions. We either drop into them or they're stuffed and really suppressed and, causing havoc inside of our bodies, our health, or we're activated and we're triggered and we're showing up within our relationships in ways that we don't really truly want to.
Mm,
And when we learn how to really meet and integrate and use what is coming to the surface, we can create joining. We
mm.
step more into our authenticity and we can actually show up in a place of love for ourselves and for others, and use the conflicts as a place to join instead of a place to create disconnection and
Mm.
separation and pain.
Having to feel things. Yeah, I don't think we like doing that as humans.
Yeah. I'd say it's there's really only three ways that we ever suffer in life. And one of those is avoiding pain and vulnerability in the body,
Mm,
not giving it safe passage. When we talk about emotions, emotions are just emotion, energy in motion.
mm,
Something that is coming up from within you that is usually old, and we can talk about, what triggers really are in a moment, but that is something, in you that's coming to the surface that just wants to be held, seen, and loved. That's
mm.
it, ever. If it doesn't feel like love, it's a call to love, always, without fail.
Oh, it's so beautiful.
Yeah.
It's also scary to do.
It is.
Yes. So I mean, like
And yet it's our only path to freedom. The only way through is through. If
that
we
saying, like,
look,
we have to heal or we have to feel to heal, that kind of
yeah,
connection.
yeah. And so it's scary, and it's really truly not easy work. It actually is so simple, but it is the only path to freedom, to that deepest levels of connection. I really feel like we're all here to love and be loved without condition, both to receive it and both to give it. And there's a lot of barriers, a lot of armoring, there's a lot of pain that's in the way of that. And yet we all desire that.
Absolutely.
There's nothing more. And, what I see in working with people when they learn how to feel again, all of their relationships change. I have story after story of people who have never been hugged by their parents in like 65 years,
Wow.
finally being able to receive that, or 45 years and never ever hearing any praise, any compliment, any I'm proud from a father that all of a sudden is saying, I see you. It's just amazing when our armoring is down, everything opens up.
Well, I mean, how do we know if our armor's up or not?
Well, if we're having conflict,
Oh, conflict. Oh,
yeah,
that
we're not,
big
we're, sometimes I say, really life is our litmus test,
conflict.
right? I mean, life will show you. Life is the greatest teacher. Or that, that quote that many of us know, you think you're enlightened, go spend some time with your family. Right?
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah. So, life is our litmus test. If we want to sneak peek on, into what's going on in our unconscious or in our body, all we have to do is look at our life,
Mhm.
because life will mirror that. And when I work with people to go deep in on the inside and actually truly integrate those old pains, those old fragments, those old beliefs, everything changes around them.
Mm. What if we're not aware of those triggers? Like, what are signs that our bodies tell us we're being triggered
Yeah.
or experiencing those things in the moment?
Yeah. I usually talk about emotions like resentment, anger, um, hurt, grief, even,
Hmm.
and when we are running from our sadness, we're running from love. When we're stuffing our grief, we're stuffing love. When we are disowning our anger, we're disowning love. I really stand by the Rumi quote, the wound is where the light enters us.
I love that quote too.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I see it over, I have such a deep trust in pain. I have such a deep trust in the triggers and the activations, because they are our path to the light, or to love, or to joining, or connection, or freedom, or empowerment, whatever words we want to use. But it really, truly is the way. So if we're experiencing criticism, judgment, blame, anger, resentment, deep hurt, feeling betrayed or rejected, those are all experiences in us. Yes, there might be some justification, like most people that have a victim narrative, it's because real wrong happened.
Hmm.
So it's not negating that wrong happened, it's just we're more than that.
Mm.
And this experience is in us. So, how do we work with what is in us so that we free ourselves?
Hmm.
When we think of that level of freedom, that level of forgiveness, or, letting go, some people say forgiveness is, I can't forgive. I don't want to forgive, because somehow that's saying that what happened was okay. But actually, it's the opposite. It's saying, what happened happened, and I'm more than this.
Oh, I love that, Kelly.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
You
So
know,
what do we do when these triggers do come up? What are tools that we can move through them? I mean, I think that awareness piece is probably the most important, of just
yeah.
like, oh, I see you. I can see where that came from. But then
Yeah.
how do we process emotions if we've got to feel it? Like, yeah, how do we process emotions in
Yeah.
your mind?
Yeah. So there's kind of, well, talk about the three things that are going on. When something is coming to the surface, there's three things that are happening simultaneously. There's the moment, the present moment, where something is right here that maybe is there to be responded to. If we aren't responding to it, so we're activated, we're triggered, we're, feeling really overwhelmed by it, it actually has more to do with the past.
Hmm.
So we've got the past, the now, and what it's really calling us to, our soul's calling, spirit's plan for us to step into our radiance versus being trapped by these things that we feel defined by.
Mm.
And so there's three things happening at the moment and in the moment. And if we're not responding in the moment, it's that we are it's something about the past. I'm sure that many people listening have probably had experiences where their reaction was bigger than the situation,
Oh, totally.
right? So
Yeah.
it's really highlighting that it's not really about the moment. And
Mm.
if we work with what that unconscious material that's going on the inside that's activated, we might think it's about the trigger on the outside. When we look at a loaded weapon, the trigger does nothing without the unconscious material. So what is this inside of us? How do we work with that which is within us? And then we go to, there's five things that are actually going on. There's what's happening in the physical body. The physical body is a storehouse of everything that's ever happened to us. We've got the raw, real emotions that are there to be honored. It doesn't matter what emotion it is, it's always valid. It's always there to be honored. It's always there to be held and moved through our heart, our energy, or our body. There's the narrative. That's the third thing. The story that we have about it, right? The meaning we've attached to it. The beliefs that are coming to the surface. The other is a need, because it's all covering up a true unmet need. And then the fifth part is what the gift is in it, because there's always something to receive. There's always a gift. Every obstacle, every challenge, every kind of activation is a divine opportunity. And so what I would say to that question, understanding there's three things going on, and within that part that's activated, that sticky, messy piece, within our human experience,
Yes.
there's all of those other parts. And what I always say, even to my I train facilitators in this work. So what I say to all of my students and facilitators is the starting point and the returning point is always the physical body. That deep presence is our only true safe container. We need that level of presence, that level of safety, in order to give safe passage to emotions. And so if you only, this season, if we were just talking about this season, if everybody only focused on the physical sensations in the body. So you've got an activation, you're feeling that, whether that is an activation with family members or, stress, in the environment, even in a grocery store or, department store, whatever that is, you focused on the physical sensations in your body. Are you noticing your heart slightly elevated, the heartbeat elevated? Are you noticing a bit of flushness? Or is there, a bit of sweat coming? Does it feel like a punch in the gut? Are your hands sweaty? Are they tight? Are they clenched? Are all of a sudden you contracted? If that's all that you did this season, that would honestly be enormous. There's obviously
You just
more.
live on autopilot. You just never take that second to tend
Yeah.
to that.
Yeah.
Mm.
That idea of the wound is where the light enters you, and that constriction in the body is a wound. It's a constriction, it's a fragment, it's something that's being activated. And if we just brought deep presence and awareness and breath, even breathing into that restriction, but just essentially bringing our conscious awareness to the sensations, it will dissipate.
Mm.
We're taught, we're famous at numbing, distracting,
Oh,
projecting,
yes.
anything to not be in the body, but we need to be in the body to experience that which is beyond the body.
Why do you think it's so hard, Kelly? Is it just survival? Like the reason that we
Well,
escape the body, the feelings and sensations of it?
yeah, it's really because we haven't been held in that. Those fractures that are coming up right now happened in a relational container, and healing happens, and really life is always saying, here, this is that next piece. If you could just meet this and hold this with love, because at one point it wasn't held with love. There was a big experience in the body as children, in situations that we weren't supported, we weren't held to meet. And so really, if we are desiring more freedom, more empowerment, more connection, more love in our life, and life is saying, here, this is that next piece. If you work with that unconscious material in you, you're going to open to more love. There's more connection available, to you. And most of us haven't been taught how to do that. As children or in big events, what happened is we attached, it didn't feel safe to feel. We didn't have someone helping us with that. And so we stuffed it. We acted it out. Um, whatever our coping strategy, was, and how we developed that. But the path back home to release that is deep presence. It's meeting it fully.
Mm, you
And
beautiful.
we have to be taught.
Mm-hmm.
You know, is the other quote that I always talk about is Joseph Campbell's, "The cave we fear to enter holds the treasures we seek." And
Mm-hmm.
some of us have enough presence and enough awareness to meet some of those things that feel really challenging.
Yeah.
And then some things that are just a little bigger than us, we need to have someone walk in that cave with us to
Mm-hmm.
like truly hold us there,
Mm-hmm.
to see us there, to, you know, as children, we would have been taught that if we had parents showing up and being like, yeah, it's okay, let's meet this. You know,
Mm-hmm.
most of us aren't taught how to do that.
Mm-hmm.
For most of us, emotions, we were
And is it
told
like
to
a
stuff
human flaw?
down. Some of
Because,
them weren't.
is it a human flaw? Because even, in this generation, mothers and fathers were all trying so hard to like, regulate our children and to hold their hand. And maybe it's gone like too far, like on one spectrum of things. But is it a human flaw to not be able to hold space for every single trigger, every single situation, every negative emotion that may come up? Is it,
I don't think it's a flaw. I
mm,
think it's just we, you know,
if,
bringing compassion. Like there's no one to blame.
mm,
We are doing our best, and there is no one to blame because where are you going to go back to? Adam and Eve?
right.
If it wasn't taught and people didn't know how to meet those things that feel really challenging, there's no one to blame.
Mm,
There's only us in this moment. And do we have the willingness, the courage, the desire for what's on the other side of that? That brings us, you know, to choosing this as a path.
mm,
You know, I say that choice is our greatest power. God gave us free will.
mhm,
And this is a choice that we get to make. And usually we can't do it on our own if we haven't been taught in some way or we haven't developed some. We're actually hardwired to process emotions.
hmm,
You know, when you look at the natural world and you look at trauma, you know, the gazelle that's being chased by the cheetah, you know, he's in the fight,
hmm,
flight
hmm,
response. He's running for his life, right? That mechanism within us is all beautiful. And at some point, maybe he gets, you know, put down by the cheetah and he'll go into a freeze, pretend he's dead. Maybe the cheetah, you know, he's lucky and the cheetah gets distracted and goes away. And that animal knows how to get up and remove that trauma in his body. He doesn't carry it on generation after generation or situation after situation. They know how to be in the body. They shake, they go find deep stillness, they connect to the earth. Then we are the same. That trauma response that's living in us, that unconscious material, we're actually hardwired to release it.
wow.
We just haven't been taught how because we're a little bit different than the animal kingdom is it's we have that ability to choose.
There's a lot of hope in that,
Yeah,
and thinking that those tools are available for us.
absolutely. 100%
And
without
it really,
fail.
you feel like it really is just being in that present moment, like even when like waves of grief may come, this holiday season, things like
Yes.
that is just like the awareness and holding it.
Yeah.
Mm.
You know, it was my mom, the anniversary of my mom's passing yesterday.
Oh.
And you know, I actually had every year, this is the fifth year, every year I've remembered that date, but I've been kind of busy and, you know, um, a full life at this moment.
Mhm.
And I actually in the morning was like, oh man, there's just stuff moving in my body. Like our body remembers, it's literally a storehouse. Even at certain times of the calendar year, people might have things that come up. Usually we can point it back to an event because the body remembers that cellular memory. So I
Mm.
was noticing I was just sort of off. There was just things moving. It just felt a little bit heavy. And it actually wasn't till the evening when I finished working with clients I noticed my sisters had posted on Instagram and I was like, oh my gosh, no wonder I, you know, had stuff going on.
Right.
And the moment that I just sat and paused and was with that experience in my body, the grief just came, you know, there was
Mm.
tears it doesn't always come, but in that moment it was moving in my body. And when I actually just gave it a little bit of space, it just moved through me you know, at one point I was just sitting you know, with my head on the bed and I was just like letting myself feel. Just giving it that safe passage, loving myself, loving, the process in the moment. My daughter came in, of course, all my kids know,
Aw.
that how to be with emotions.
Mm.
And my daughter came in, she's like, Mom, you good? I said, yeah, I just found out that because she knew something, I was just sort of off. There was something moving in my day. And, I just clued in as to why. And it was that the anniversary of grandma's passing. And she's like, okay, do you need anything? I said, no, I'm just going to, have a cry. Like, we can do this. We can do this with our children. These are just such beautiful moments to take. And so much gets freed up.
Mm.
As a child, I could never understand why my mom was not okay with me just feeling, because to me, every time that I had a big experience come and I would just let myself cry, it was like a conversation with God every time.
Mm.
I didn't get trapped in it because I brought deep presence, because I was brought up with meditation as a practice. So I could be fully in my body with it. It
Mm.
was always a meeting of God
Wow, that's
on some level at the end of it. If we're with it and we're surrendered to it in a really
mm.
embodied way, that wound is where the light enters us.
Mm. And I always wonder, if people are scared to feel things because they think that it might spiral them into like days of sadness or days of
Yeah.
depression. So it's like, oh, I don't want to go there. But I think I
Mm-hmm.
even remember one of the workshops that I had with you where it was like, I don't know if it was like you said that emotion usually like has its peak like over 90 seconds.
Yes.
It's not these huge things where like, well, if I get too sad, then maybe I'm not going to be able to pull myself together next week, or
Mm-hmm.
that we have these expectations on how the timeline of what needs to move through us. But even when I picture you crying, in that moment of grief, it's just like I just need a big cry and let it all out, just for this certain amount of time, and then okay, I feel better, like because it was
Yeah.
able to move through me. So does that apply? Do you think that 90 second?
Yeah. Oh, it's 100%. If we bring deep presence to it, it moves quite quickly. 90
Mm.
seconds. Most of us just aren't, if we have a fear of the emotions, we're not with it fully. That's why we need someone to support us to be so fully with it, so that we have an experience, we develop a trust in our body and our capacity to meet it.
Mm.
On the other side, there are some people who've carried so much fracture that it can feel like if I, and it can be sort of an experience that meeting this, it seems like it's just always coming up. But it's not really the same, for we talk about our healing being like an onion.
Mm-hmm.
We're meeting all of these places within our body that have been fractured, that have held. Our body is so beautiful. It's held so much for us, and when we show up and we really meet it, and bring that safety to us, it's like, okay, it feels safe now. I can let go of this and I can let go of that. And so it can feel like we're in a deep state of sadness for a period of time, and but if we're doing it in the right way, where we're really held to meet the light on the other side, or the ease on the other side, where it's really integrative, because there are some practices or practitioners who are all about just digging up the emotion. Let's just like be in
Get
it
in
all
there.
the time. And that's not what I do.
Right. I'm always like, oh, I'm like always like, how is that helpful? People,
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm like, this cannot be good for
No, no. If it's
anybody.
done right, you will find ease. Even if you have a certain, one client comes to mind, and she was like, oh my God, when am I ever going to be done with this sadness? Like deep layers of sadness. But she literally spent her entire life in sadness. So
Mm.
guess what? It's not going to be 90 seconds. Maybe one part of that will be relieved and she'll experience some ease. And that will give her that safety and that trust to meet the other layers. But
Mm.
it was, really about 3 months of, wow, when is this going to end? But guess what? If she didn't meet it, it's going to have an impact on her body anyway.
Right.
All dis-ease in the body will have some link to an emotional, spiritual, component that hasn't been met and processed.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't mean we don't negate, we're negating the physical aspects of dis-ease and care for our physical body, but it will have an emotional link. So we could do all we want with our physical body, and if we aren't dealing with the underlying emotion and fracture that's there, it's gonna have its impact anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So, if in this particular case she spent 3 months, really being held in her sadness so that she can live a vibrant, I think she was around 50, another 50 years in
Right.
vibrant health, but would it be worth it?
Mm-hmm. That's true. Like dis-ease in your emotions causes disease. Yeah, this is
Mm-hmm.
true. That gets trapped in there. It's
Yeah.
always like one of those things. Like if you don't deal with it now, you'll have to deal with it later in some other way.
Yeah.
So it's
It's,
kind of
it's like it's like holding that beach ball underneath the water, and at some point it's going to implode or explode. We
mm,
can't hold it for very long.
oh, so true.
Yeah. And so really just that, if everyone, I cannot say enough, hundreds of people, years of working, that if you focused on the physical sensations, if you need obviously more help, get more help. But if that one thing, I can't stress enough. If you notice that you're in a blame, or, your mind's just going crazy, in whatever that looks like, or you're noticing big emotions, they will always have a place in the body or an experience in the physical body. So could you acknowledge the narrative or the story or the blame or the criticism and the need or the emotions that are there, but can you bring them into the physical body? What is happening in my physical body right now?
Mm,
Because that level of being with the physical body in presence and noticing and honoring the sensations will bring some ease.
mm,
It's obviously not all of it, but it's the becoming always and the starting. It's the foundation of
mm.
just connecting to the physical sensations.
Beautiful. And what a beautiful tool for people to practice, this time of
Mm-hmm.
year. Whether
Yeah.
it's like, who you're going to be surrounded with or the environment and all of these things that can kind of come up.
Yeah.
Well, Kelly, thank you. Thank you for this wisdom. Thank you for your magic. And
My honor.
yeah, so beautiful to kind of delve into it. I know there's so many layers that we could have gone into on each of those topics.
Yeah.
And Kelly, what are you offering in the new year? Like, how can people kind of stay in your world, or if they're interested in connecting?
Mm-hmm. I run group programs where you get to work with me individually and in a group. So it's one-on-one and group work. I also have a retreat coming up in February
That
in
I
Costa.
really may want to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks
it's
amazing.
it's my most immersive work. It's called Awakening Through Trauma, the retreat, and it's in Costa Rica, February 9th to the 15th. And we're working, deep into our wounds, and you're being held in a container that is like no other to meet these places within us. But we're working with the mother wound, the father line, the inner child work, shadow work, the process of forgiveness and letting go. It's really deep work, and you're held in such a sacred way through it. Remember, the wound is where the light enters. So we are intentionally, consciously, with deep presence, with deep compassion, with love and tenderness going into the wound. But through my skill and my the work that I do, it's meeting the light on the other side. It's that true integration through it. So awakening through our trauma. So we are coming home to who we've always been, and
Mm,
who on a soul level, the life that we were created to live versus the life that some of our circumstances and our activations and our unconscious material is directing us.
yeah, beautiful. Sounds
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I'll put a link to your website and all those kind of things here in this post.
Great.
Just thank you so much for joining me, and always
Thank
just so
you.
beautiful to be in your energy and just feeling the energy of your heart and how you love to serve too. It's just always so
Mhm.
beautiful. So thank
Yeah.
you, Kelly. Merry Christmas to you.
Yeah. Merry Christmas to you and to everyone that's listening.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you, Kelly.
Beautiful.